Hey guys, welcome to the channel, and we are continuing with Type 5 month. This is actually my first Type 5 content video, so I'm really excited about it. And so for this one, I'm just gonna do a brief overview of the Type 5, and then I'm gonna do a couple of activities that are aligned with Type 5s, and I'll explain those also. So I'm gonna try not to read from my computer, but it's probably gonna happen anyways. So Type 5s they are motivated by a desire to move through life by preparing or arming themselves with knowledge. And because of this, they often seek to understand things that are relevant to them, such as skills at work, or even just understanding this whole virus that's going around and understanding the statistics, the symptoms, what you're supposed to do if you think you have symptoms, things like that. Also, in a way, Type 5s believe that if they understand these relevant things, they can move through the world more easily than a person who is like ignorant or choosing to be ignorant, or someone who's just like learning as they go. For today, I asked my BF, who is a Type 5, who relates the most, I guess, to Type 5s, what I should like learn about, like what kind of knowledge does he think I need? And he actually brought up microphones, which I thought was really funny because he actually just bought me a microphone for my birthday, and I'm actually gonna go get it and show you guys. All right, so just found it. Obviously, I don't know much about it. I don't even have it like hooked up to my camera right now, but my BF, when he bought this for me, he bought it because one of his like pet peeves with YouTubers is when they don't have good sound. So he bought this for me. And of course he did a ton of research before he bought it. So he knows a thing or two about microphones at this point. He probably doesn't even know that much. I'm sure he's not an expert. However, he knows a lot more than I do. So I'm gonna spend some time this weekend trying to figure out this, and I'll give some thoughts maybe tomorrow night about microphones, what I've learned about them, and hopefully it'll be plugged in the next time I talk to you guys. Can you hear me? I think so. I'm definitely turning this light off. Ooh, that's hot. Wow. Okay. Well, guys, there we go. Well, guys, I think I figured out how to plug in my microphone. I mean, I literally just followed directions for that part. So that part was really easy. I'm really good at following directions. It's the teacher life. You get really good at it. So now I'm gonna try to learn more about microphones in general. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really excited to learn. A part of me just wants to see if there's like a Bill Nye or Magic School Bus episode about sound and microphones. I do know there's a Magic School Bus episode about sound. I'm really tempted just to watch those and be like, yeah, that's it. Except I think all Type 5s would scream at me if I did that. So let's see. Let's just try to keep learning. So I just finished about 3 days of looking up some information about microphones. And so I took some notes. They're on my laptop. So I will be reading from it. I did some like minor research and just kind of like found some videos on YouTube that I thought were helpful from some YouTubers who I thought would be helpful. So the first video that I watched is called A Quick Guide to Microphones by Soundfly. And this guy said there are basically two kinds of microphones. There's a dynamic microphone and a condenser microphone. And I believe it's the dynamic ones that are good for recording music. And condenser mics are great for like singing, because it picks up a lot of like small details. I do feel like that is contingent on whether or not you're a good singer, because if I were to sing into a condenser mic, I don't know if we would want to pick up on all the details of my voice. It's just not that great. But anyways, both mics have a thing called a condenser, and it's basically like, it's shown in a picture, it's like a round little disc like this. And it is usually very small. It's made out of some kind of metal. And when the sound hits the condenser, it causes a vibration, and then the sound passes through the rest of the microphone. And the smaller a diaphragm is, the more sensitive it is to sound vibrations. So that's kind of why like different mics have different like sound qualities. Also, I watched a video called Shure MV88 Plus Stereo USB Microphone for Video by Technically Speaking. So this video, I watched it because it's specific to the mic that my BF bought me for my birthday. So I learned that I could hook up this microphone not just to my phone, which it's hooked up to right now, but also to like a computer or a laptop, especially if I ever want to like play with sound. I also learned that if I continue with this and I want to play with sound, there's an app, which I actually have the app for this microphone on my phone, but it's actually really like easy to use, which is great because I don't know a whole lot about audio. I went to film school and I know a lot about like story, but I just never really got into the editing. I did a little bit of it and I enjoyed it, but like a lot of the editors also did like sound editing, and so they know a lot about it. And I just never got into it. So hearing that the app for this microphone is easy to use is like really helpful to me and not too intimidating. So learning is a really hard process for me, which is why I wasn't super excited about making this video. And I feel like I was procrastinating on it. And I do know that when I do procrastinate, it is kind of out of like a fear of failure. And so I've pushed past a lot of that in my adult life. And so I hate procrastinating. I try not to do it. But I really procrastinated on this video because I did not want to learn. I'm an internal processor and I'm a very slow processor. I do think I might have like a learning disability in that way. So for me, like learning equals failure. Like I think that's kind of what school taught me. I wouldn't say a specific like teacher taught me that. I had some really awesome teachers growing up. But I just knew like if I try in school, I'm probably not going to do as well as like other people. So this was actually a really hard video for me to do. And it was hard trying to learn something about a topic that I'm really not super interested in. It was suggested to me. However, I am glad that I tried it. Like I would not have looked up anything about microphones if I had a question about this microphone, the one I'm recording on, or a different one. I definitely would have just contacted my boyfriend and asked him to help me out. Next, I'm going to follow a common growth tip for type 5s, which is to be in their body and not just their mind. So I am going to do some yoga because it requires you to focus on your body by also focusing on your mind. I enjoy working out, so I want to practice yoga with the mindset that I need to pay attention to my body. Okay, so I just finished about 40 minutes of yoga. And again, I have like my notes on my laptop, so I'm gonna try to not read from them, but let's see if that happens. So I know I said before that when you do yoga, you do need to like focus on both your body and your mind. And that's why I wanted to practice for this type 5 video. However, I realized like how much you need to do that, like how important it is, because yogis often like they talk about focusing your mind on different parts of your body to pay attention to them. But I didn't realize like how truly important that is and how you use that. I mean, for every single pose, every transition in yoga. Because of this engagement of both my mind and body, it really made me think that type 5s like could be very successful at yoga, because it is a challenge for your mind to not just focus on something that you're like working, like a problem you're working out in your head. Like you actually have to focus on the rest of your body, which can also be very frustrating. So that can be a real challenge too. And when I say frustrating, I mean like, I have very like tight calves. And so, I mean, I like stretch them almost every day and I still do it and it still hurts. And I forget what the position is, but there's something where you're like kind of reaching behind you. And there have been several times, like I don't go fast. Like I try to take things slowly, especially in yoga. But there's been like 2 or 3 times in the past like 6 months where I've done this pose and I reach behind me and then it like hurts my back right here. Like, and last time I did it, it was really, really bad. And so I just did that position in this yoga practice from like 30 minutes ago. And I was super careful. I really paid attention. I've been paying attention to stretching out those parts of my bodies, like these, it's kind of the obliques. It's like right behind the obliques maybe, or maybe it's a part of it. I don't know. But I've been trying to stretch those out. And so when I did the pose, like I was very mindful of like every muscle in my body, especially my abdominals. And I'm like, I feel like a type 5 could really thrive, like having to pay attention to their body like that, because type 5s do have an amazing capacity to use their brains and to use their brains like really well and to take in a lot of information and to be very curious about that information and not just like, oh my God, I'm in pain, but like, interesting, why am I in pain all of a sudden? Also, something that I've learned from, I know 3 type 5s. Off the top of my head, I can think of 3 type 5s. Maybe there's a 4th one, but I'm not sure. And I know like at least these 3 type 5s that I know, they hate going to the gym. And one reason why they hate it is because, one, they don't feel like they're alone, but also it's because when they get on like a treadmill or an elliptical, they just kind of feel like, what's the point of this? Like I'm walking in place or running in place. And I totally get that. I feel like at least with yoga, like I can make the choice to go to a yoga studio or I can do it on like YouTube, which is what I just did. And I can be alone and I can, set the atmosphere to what I want. If I need to take a break, I don't feel like judged or like people are watching me as I like, sit there and stretch out my back or something. So I definitely think yoga is I can see how yoga is a really good practice for type 5s. All in all, I recommend yoga to anyone who is a type 5 or just needs to get out of their head and into their body more. Which honestly, for type 4s, it's probably a good practice too, because we do like to live inside of our heads. Guys, thank you so much for joining me today. If you did enjoy this video, please click the Buy Me a Coffee button at the top of the page. I really like coffee. But above all else, please be kind, be brave, and be engaged. Until next time.